Howdo, and welcome to season 2 of the worship series. Woohoo! And I think I've got just the piece somewhere tucked away in the back of beyond. So am I going to rip-cut the entire length of that? There are many words that would mean no. So let's show you what we've got so far, and then we'll have to go and hunt out a piece of wood. So part of the design remit on this was some kind of influence from an Ampeg scroll bass. Now, if you've not seen one of those before, basically it's a solid body instrument, but with two great big holes going through it in the shape of the old-fashioned F holes. And looking around at the original ones from the 60s, if you can manage to get your hands on one, you're looking at about $4,500 plus. So we took that idea and implemented my shape of F-hole that I've used before on my archtop designs, and then gave it a little bit of a twist. Height-wise, I think we're okay. It possibly goes a little bit too far out that way, but that's still able to be tweaked if necessary. One thing I love to do is build on site. So as we make this guitar up and I cut the body shape out, it's really easy to feel it and go, do you know what, that is a bit big, we can take a shim off. So we're going to stick with this size for now and possibly adapt it a little bit later. So originally my F-shape holes on here were going to be completely empty, and then we were going to have a really nice inlay heading up the neck. However, this is going to be a fretless bass. So having inlays up that fingerboard is going to be a little bit awkward because the strings are always going to be rubbing onto the inlays, scratching them, possibly vibrating and cracking things. But more importantly, it's going to sound different. It's easy to imagine you push the string onto a chunk of shell, it's going to sound completely different from when you push the string onto the wooden fretboard. So we're going blank, and we're going to talk about what material we're going to use in a future video. So make sure you're paying attention for that. So that meant that a large part of the custom design that was going to happen with this bass couldn't be done up the inlays. So where else are we going to put it? So one of the major themes about this guitar is from the book of Exodus in the Old Testament in the Bible, where everyone was following either a pillar of cloud, which represented God during the daytime, or a pillar of fire during the night. And searching through for some inspiration, I found this beautiful design of cloud and fire, and I thought that would look great up and down the neck. But as we've established, the neck's no good. So where are we going to put it? Well, we happen to have some holes. So how about we fill that with some stained glass? Now, funnily enough, I've never done any stained glassing before, and we're also going to light this up around the edges on the inside as well with some nice LEDs. Not something I've ever done before, but I know a few people that have, so I might be picking a few brains. But first and foremost, we need to go and get a piece of wood to start cutting this body out. And I think I've got just the piece somewhere tucked away in the back of beyond. I think it's in there somewhere. My little Aladdin's cave. This is actually a drum room that I made quite a few years ago, and there are some drums just tucked back down there somewhere. I have plans for this space to convert this into a nice workshop studio and keep this as the clean section. But that might happen or it might not. We'll see. Big old pew section, even bigger pew section. But first, we've got to get it out. I hope you're enjoying this. It's a good job in flight. Fingers. Nice. One very large piece of wood. But you can actually see it's two pieces of wood and they're very different. So we have really nice kind of straight grain, but then this side has this beautiful curly grain in there all the way through. Isn't that just absolutely stunning? And that's what we're going to use on this piece. So I'm going to have to rip cut this down in sections. So I now need to put all of this away. I'll see you in a bit. Now that is a significant length of wood. So am I going to rip cut the entire length of that? There are many words that would mean no. So instead, I'm going to cut off the length of the body times 2. So we're going to chop that way and then do another one that way. Then I'll rip cut exactly what I need. And then the other side that we're not using today will become another guitar later on. Maybe you'd like to order a guitar for that wood to be used for. Get in touch. Too big for inside the workshop. And then one of the best things about cutting them into small manageable pieces is they'll go through my small tiny little bandsaw. Body for another day. Ours is this one. Hey, look at that, it's a perfect gap already, look. No? No? All right then, we'll get my favourite tool of all my favourite tools out then. This Stanley number 7. It's approximately 100 years old and is without doubt my favourite tool in the workshop. It doesn't get a staggering amount of use, but when you need it and it's there, it's just delightful. That'll do. So we'd best glue them together then, haven't we? Here's my top tips for gluing up. Number 1, get your clamps out ready. Number 2, always rub the 2 sections together. It starts that capillary action off, it spreads the glue out. Exactly what we need. Number 3 is always clamp sideways first. That way, the boards won't move and they'll be perfectly aligned. And lastly, I tend to clamp up the ends first, but make sure that as you're going along the entire length, that we are clamping in opposite sides. So from here, this is getting clamped from the front, and the next ones get clamped from the back. And then make sure we wipe off the excess, and shavings are perfect for doing such a thing. And then I always leave that at least overnight before doing anything else with it. And the morning after the night before gives us a nice big block. Huzzah! Now if you've seen any of my guitar builds before, you'll pretty much know what's coming next. We get the design, we cut it out, and we stick it on. And then of course we get to cut this out. Now I've done this in the past frequently with the stop cut technique. There's a video at the end of this one if you've not tried that before, just using a saw and a chisel to cut out the entire shape. Today I'm just feeling in a bandsaw-y mood, so I'm just going to go straight to that and carefully cut all the way around the lines. And with that, we have a cutout body. Now to really feel what this is like under your arm, we're going to need to put the neck on it. So that's the next challenge for me. But while I'm finding a piece of wood that's going to suit, you watch this video here because you'll find it very useful for cutting out bodies. See you soon. God bless.